Hi, I'm Nicola, and thank you for showing interest in Castaway Cruise and Resort Hiring Agency's upcoming interviews.
Carnival cruise ships are the fun ships, and therefore we are looking for fun staff who can commit to a 6-month contract at sea. There will be many different start dates for these positions spanning the second half of 2019, maybe even into 2020. These 6-month contracts would require you to live on board a cruise ship for that 6 months, living in a small cabin and sharing this with one other person of the same gender. Cruise ship cabins are small. I'm talking bunk beds, a little bit of cupboard and drawer space. There is a bathroom for the two of you, so you're not lining up down hallways. You have a housekeeper that comes in and cleans up after you daily, which is very nice. However, crew cabins are not luxurious. You are surrounded by people 24/7. You just step outside the door and there's everyone else who knows who you are, what you're doing, who you're doing it with, and they're not afraid to talk about it. But ship life is a fun life. You do get to meet people from all around the world, and you will become like a family out at sea. There are a lot of crew facilities that you can use, a crew bar, a crew gym, even sporting events that you can join in, a crew training center where you can learn another language, and you are what's counted as a staff member. Staff members are allowed to go into the guest areas during their time off. There are some rules and regulations that come along with this, so most of the time you're probably going to want to hang out in the crew areas or get off the ship when you do have the time to do so. You do, however, work 7 days a week. There is no such thing as a full day off. You will have two different types of days out at sea. There is port days and there's sea days. The sea days are the busiest days for everyone. That's when all the guests are on board and they're going to want to be entertained. Those days you're looking at doing short shifts with short breaks in between. You may do 3 hours, have a 2-hour break. Come back and do another 3 hours, have a 2-hour break. Come back and do a final 3 hours until you've done 9 hours for the day, possibly even 10. On port days, you are looking at doing less hours, and usually you'll have those chunks of time in longer stretches, maybe doing 5-6 hours straight, so that you can afford to have those bigger chunks of time to get off the ship and go out and be a tourist. For example, you may work from 7 o'clock in the morning through till midday, and then be off in the afternoon and evening. Or you might not start work until 4 o'clock in the afternoon and work through till 10, 11, maybe even 12, but you've had that entire day to get off the ship and go out and be a tourist. Sometimes you will not be able to get off the ship, and all your friends are getting off in Jamaica. You're like, thanks guys, have fun. But that ship's going to come back to Jamaica the next time, and that's when you'll have the opportunity to get off the ship. You will get to see all the places your ship is visiting, and it honestly is going to get to the point where you'll be like, really? Grand Cayman again? I'm going to sleep in today. I know you don't believe me right now, but it can happen. Of course, working on a cruise ship isn't all just amazing beaches and meeting great people. You are there, of course, to work. The youth position with Carnival would have you working with children aged 2 to 11. These are broken up into age groups of 2 to 5, 6 to 8, and 9 to 11-year-olds. It is all age-appropriate programming, activity after activity after activity. With the 2 to 5s, you have a lot of themed events. Could be Dora the Explorer afternoon or Under the Sea evening. You do get to put your own creativity into some of these programs. The 6 to 8s and 9 to 11s do go all around the ship. You could have scavenger hunts, bingo in one lounge, a disco in another lounge, karaoke before going up to the sports deck. You might take them to see the show, make pizzas with the chefs. There's a little bit of something for all of the kids on board, which makes it just as fun for you as it is for them. There is also an evening program called the Night Owls program. Now, programming up until 10 o'clock at night is completely free of charge for the guests. After 10 o'clock at night, if the parents want to keep their kids in your care so they can use the adult facilities, they will pay for this privilege. This program is inherently a giant slumber party, and it can go up until 2 o'clock in the morning. This means two things. One, occasionally you would be on that late shift, which isn't so bad. You get a lot of your days off and get out to see all the places your ship is visiting. But it also means even if you are not part of the Night Owls at cruise, you're still going to get a cut of the commission that comes off and goes to you and your team. This is basically a pocket money that you can live off, and you can bank the rest of your wage, as you have zero expenses out at sea. You're not paying for food, you're not paying for accommodation, you don't have a car, so you're not pumping that full of petrol, you don't need to bring a mobile phone with you if you don't want to. You can. I know people lose their marbles when I say no phone, you just don't need one. And you are covered completely medically. The only thing you are going to spend your own money on is yourself. If you want to get off the ship and buy lunch or a souvenir one day, or go to the crew bar at the end of the night and grab yourself a glass of wine, that will set you back about $1.50 because everything's duty-free. I do not recommend you spend your entire wage in the crew bar. You will be pretty sick and probably pretty fired. The youth staff wage starts at $1,625 per month. This does move up as you move into more senior levels or if you move into management roles. This can sometimes happen quite quickly on cruise ships as it is a transient lifestyle. There is also another position that they will be hiring for at these interviews coming up. This is called a youth staff/animator role. It is about 75% the youth staff position I've spoken of, and the other 25% would be you working in the character suits that they do have on board. They have the Dr. Seuss characters, Thing 1, Thing 2, Cat in the Hat. Now this is completely up to you, and it does depend on your height. But if you do go out to sea as a youth staff/animator role, your wage will start at $1,725 per month. On top of both of these, you do receive that night hours money. To be qualified to work as youth staff or youth staff animator on board, we are looking for those who do have experience working with large groups of children, preferably in a recreation setting.
I do hope you're interested in discussing these positions and the interviews with me further. Please follow the instructions as set out in the email so we can have this talk and I can answer any other questions you may have.